Good morning to everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Søren Fink Jensen. I'm the CEO of One Click Factory. Welcome to this webinar. We have been hearing a lot from partners in the recent 3 or 4 months that extension is a super hot topic, and especially now that the extension 2.0 has come out, we are seeing this as something that has super high interest. We have some experiences already on developing an extension 2.0 that we'll share today, and that's why we set up this webinar. Normally, our executive webinars are about 30 minutes. We have a feeling that we might go over a little bit on this one, and we also think that there might be more questions at the end, given that we have more than 150 people on the call. So it might take a bit more than the 30 minutes we normally do. We are very lucky with the people talking today. So we have Chad Suggi from Microsoft, who is the program manager for the SMB product, and he will talk much more about the actual Microsoft product and the context around development. Andrius Sivas is our principal developer lead for Extension 2.0 projects, and he will be sharing our experiences so far, and then I will talk about the how to get started at the end. So basically what we're talking about here is 3 key things that we'll talk about: modern development in Dynamics 365 Business Central, then the do and the don'ts of moving to ISV solutions, and then the ready to go program. So Chad, with that, I will hand over to you, and you can introduce the background for Dynamics 365 Business Central.
All right, great. Thank you, Søren. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are located. My name is Chad Suggi. I am, as Søren said, a principal group program manager working in R&D for Microsoft. So I work on the SMB solutions. And today I have the pleasure of talking to you more about the modern development environment when it comes to Business Central. So what is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central? If we could move to the next slide there. Business Central was just announced last week, and this is the next evolution of what we had originally called Financials, and then we had called Business Edition for Dynamics 365, and now we are branding it as starting April 2nd. It will be available as Dynamics 365 Business Central. For those of you that are NAV pros and know NAV quite well, this is the full NAV solution in a cloud offering, which means that we have 2 versions. We have Essentials, which is everything except service management and manufacturing, and we have Professional, or Premium, I'm sorry, Essentials and Premium, which includes all of those. And so we have packaged up everything that you know about NAV into this offering called Business Central. It's available through CSP, only through CSP, so through Partner Motion, and has all of the functionality for project operations, reporting, supply chain, sales and service, and of course financial management. So when we look at this, it talks a little bit about our product evolution. And for those that have been at Directions in the past, this is what we've promised over the course of time. I mentioned on the top here is our cloud offering. We started with Financials, Business Edition. We rebranded that as Finance and Operations Business Edition. And then now it will be called Business Central. So nothing changes there in terms of some of the offering other than, well, a lot changes actually when it comes to Business Central. We've added the full nav capability to it, as I mentioned before. So Business Central, April 2. In terms of the on-premise solutions, we've added updates to NAV 2018. And then as we look and move towards fall, we will merge these into the offering, all of it being Business Central, and you will choose your deployment, whether you want cloud or you want on-premise and hosted where you can sync back to the cloud. So that is our product evolution in terms of Business Central. Now, Business Central has some important attributes that you need to know about when it comes to customizing or extending it. And this is where most of our conversation today will involve talking about extensions version 2.0. We started on the extensions pathway about 1.5 years ago with extensions version 1. And what extensions do is help us kind of separate and decouple so that you can build. We got a little feedback on the line, I think. See if we can mute. But it helps us build and decouple some of the offerings so that it's much more easy to upgrade on the cadence that we have for cloud. So we have been shipping our solution on a monthly cadence. We've been updating on a monthly cadence, and we've been using apps from AppSource as the means to add additional functionality to the cloud solution. Those are converting to extensions version 2.0, has much more robust capabilities for being added on the fly. We no longer have to wait for a monthly update in order to add an ISV extension. Once an ISV extension is approved through the approval and submission process, we can put it up into AppSource and we can dynamically offer it against every customer's tenant should they choose. So that will rapidly improve the time to market of your solutions versus having to wait for approval and then it to go into our backpack and come out with our monthly update. That changes considerably with extension version 2.0. We are also implementing or offering up the customizations capability. And so you can do per tenant customizations through the extensions methodology that allows you to tailor for each of your clients or each of your tenants to their specific needs and have that packaged as an extension, which makes it much easier to upgrade on the monthly updates or on the major updates as we go with every half year for a major update. So let's talk a little bit about finding the right offering for you as an app builder and how you should consider what app types you want to use in order for building out these solutions. We have 3 offerings. The very first and the simplest is that you can create an online service, or you have an online service that you want to connect and integrate with Dynamics 365 Business Central through what we call a Connect app. These are quite simply the set of REST APIs that we have built out. We have 44 of these REST APIs, and there's a list of them a little bit later in this deck so that you can see where we're at present. But it allows you to connect through multiple endpoints and easily send data back and forth between your app, whether it's a .NET app or not, and Business Central, and create that connection there. We are working on the process to validate and list those in AppSource. That will be coming quite shortly, and our One-Click Factory team will help us with that as well. So that is one method that you can use in order to take your solution and offer it to the Business Central clients. The second way, and the one that's been out there for a little while, is the add-on module. And this is where you want to extend the experience, the user experience, and the capability of Dynamics Business Central by creating these add-on apps through version 2.0. From a customer's perspective, these are a powerful feature that allows you as an ISV and developer to extend Business Central with additional capabilities that are built right into the experience. So you can use the same UI. It can look and feel exactly as Business Central does. You call on the events that we have in Business Central, and you are then considered an add-on app. We take that through our full approval process in order to get listed into AppSource, but it does provide the ability to go a little further than the Connect apps. We also are introducing some modern development tools in this version with an in-client designer that allows you to take in a sandbox environment and drag and drop fields on Windows, add fields through Visual Studio Code, and bring those back into that sandbox environment. And once you're done building your add-on, you simply package that up as a .app. And if it's a per tenant customization, you apply it to that customer's tenant. Or if you want to submit it to AppSource as an app, as a horizontal or vertical app, you can submit it as an app there as well. So there is a lot of modern tooling that is available in this Business Central version with that in-client designer and Visual Studio Code experience. And then thirdly, for those of you that have a specialized industry app with a deep experience and you want to white label that, we have the embed solutions. We're not going to spend as much time talking about that today. There are programs if you're interested in becoming an embedded app type of ISV with white labeling of the solution for your vertical. So contact us if that is the case, and we can talk to you about the specifics of that program. So let's talk about the difference between an add-on and a connected app. What we've done is we've just put together a quick table here that talks about the differences and how connected apps actually can supplement add-ons. You can even combine the two, relying on an add-on for setup UI or two-way communication. So add-on apps are a powerful customization abilities with the in-client designer that allows you to make the look and feel embedded directly within Dynamics 365 Business Central. It does require a knowledge of internal business logic and the data model. So you're going to trigger off of events that we've created, and you're going to need to know some of the logic that resides within Business Central in order to create that add-on app feel. So we believe it's suitable for deeper integrations, embedded user experience, and of course ISV solutions that want to be part of Business Central. On the Connect apps side, again, this relies on the simplicity of REST APIs. So we have a number of APIs available that you can call into. It's similarity with other SaaS services. So if you're integrating to other solutions already through APIs, you'll notice much the same experience here. And then it's a fairly quick development cycle because again, it's API based. So you can use those APIs, which leaves you a large choice of coding platforms for your solution, so long as you're using and calling and sending data back and forth through those REST APIs. It does not allow you to modify the UI or the business logic. Certainly if you're using a coding platform and you want to replicate it as close as you can, that's one thing, but it is not the same as an add-on where you would go in and create it directly within the UI of Business Central. So we believe it's suitable for data integration. It's suitable for integration with non-Dynamics 365 Business Central horizontal online services, or those with little to no Business Central experience may choose that as the method of integration. I mentioned before the APIs that are available. Here is a list of the 44 that are currently available. We continue to look at and expand the API set, but you can see we have pretty good coverage against company, finance, sales, purchasing, and reports that allow you to do a number of things through the Connect app scenarios if you should so choose. Now, how do you get started on this? And that's where really we begin with the Ready to Go program and some of the things that we have available there. So Ready to Go contains a set of resources, services, and tools that enable you to get up and running with your integration to Business Central, and of course then if your app to get approved and listed in Microsoft AppSource. Our resources include an extensive online learning library with both business and technical content, so you have a lot of the information you need there. We have services, ISV development centers, Master VARs, which provide package ready to go guidance and workshops. You're going to hear more about that in a little while from Soren, is one of our premier partners in this area that can help with those services. And of course, tooling. It allows you to find where you can look for the current and upcoming builds of Business Central. I mentioned the sandbox before. We also have Docker images for the current solution as well as the daily builds we're working on or our next version so that you can get ahead of that. All of that you can find at the website listed below. So that gives you a little bit of a feel of what Business Central is, how some of the modern tooling works against it. And now I'm going to turn it over to Andres to speak about the real-life development of V2 extensions.
Thank you, Chad, for great introduction. I wanted to share a little bit of insights that we came across when consulting multiple partners and I'm actually a more technical person, and I would only cover things from technical point of view and leave business details to Soren at the end of the presentation. Okay, so first thing that partners usually realize when starting their journey on extensions is that actually developing extensions is different, and the rules are how you distribute things are more stricter. So extension is a very awesome technology and allows easy distribution and scalability of your solution to the customer, and easy deployment as well. But that comes as a price of additional engineering effort to foresee some things in advance. For example, there are more stricter rules about version management and data lifecycle management that needs to be taken into account. Also, there is a need to be aware that your extension can be dependent on others, and manage these dependencies appropriately. And other extensions could be dependent on your extension as well. So there are multiple tools like obsolete fields to have obsolete field property to warn other extension developers that field in your extension is going to be obsolete after a while, and they should be careful when using this field and anticipate that it will be changed. Also, if you are exposing business events as business event publishers, you need to be prepared to keep these events stable, and also prepare the right documentation for them. And actually, if you want your other NAV solution centers to customize your behavior of your extensions for specific customers, it can be done only through interfaces. So basically, the event publishers is only tool how you can enable your partners to customize your behavior of your solution for the customer. So you really need to pay attention into designing proper event publishers and properly documenting those. Okay, so we came across that there are two purposes that partners want to utilize extensions for. So first one is exposing, moving NAV products or as add-ons to extensions. And actually, this segment has most benefit out of extension technology, because they already have version management and source control processes in place, and they need to distribute their product to multiple NAV versions and multiple customers, and they need scalability. And the best benefit is that usually to distribute the product to the customer, you needed the help of NAV solution center to merge the code of your product to customer's database. And with the extension, it's not needed anymore, and it saves a lot of time and improves reliability on the customer side. So really good good case for NAV products. The other part of NAV partners is partners who does the customizations and they want to deploy them easily to their customers. But with this segment, there is a need to import to consider will extension management and management overhead be not too overwhelming to manage after the product is built as extension, because you need to handle the changes between versions of extension. You need to handle changes of data schema changes, and you need to send all extension as a batch. You cannot send only separate objects anymore. So if there are no table schema changes, so maybe it's a good option to deploy such solution as extension to the partners. But if there are data schema changes involved, so you need to really carefully consider if this won't bring too much administration overhead. Okay, so we came across multiple steps which we see makes most sense into moving to extension. So usually after having a support for extension, it's inevitable to have two code bases, which is a little bit challenging to maintain. So we want to minimize the time frame when you have to maintain changes in two solutions, but while developing extension to the minimum. So in order to do that, we need to do as much preparation tasks as possible in current version already. And we see that about 70 to 80% of work could be done in version 2017. And once we are ready with all refactoring needed, we move to on-premise extension. Then then there we pilot the stability of the product, and also are all software lifecycle management processes working properly. And only after that solve additional restrictions of the app source and satisfy additional requirements to get to the app source. A little bit more details about each step. So the preparation covers moving all the development to events-driven development, and it not only means that the code from standard modifications should be moved to events, but also the events should be designed in such way that they would be bulletproof for changes of events subscribing to same event publisher. Also, there is a need to review standard data modifications. So if you have, for example, lookup fields or changed properties of standard tables, it's not supported in extension, so there is a need to find the other solution or workaround to implement the functionality you need. Also, if your extension adds additional fields to fields with a lot of records, like GL entries or ledger entries or value entries, you need to be cautious about performance issues because of way the data is stored in extensions. And .NET usage should be reviewed as well. So some of .NET cases could be changed by already native functions available in NAV. And also, if the .NET code is scattered all around the solution, so it's better to centralize all .NET code in a couple of code units in order to easier refactor them when you are moving to extensions. Also, if you have visual control add-ins, so you need to move them to JavaScript, which will be really easily convertible to extension JavaScript control add-ins. And you have to have software lifecycle management procedures ready before moving to extension, because once you implement, so to implement extension is quite easy, but without these procedures, you would have a lot of problems maintaining the solution. So you want to make sure that these procedures are working when you start distributing your product as extension. And when converting on-premise, when converting to on-premise extensions, we need to do the technical conversion. We need to make sure that dependencies and granularity is configured properly. And the thing that all partners need to be aware about is that in order to collect money from your customers, from your extension, you need to have some sort of tools to protect your intellectual property, and you need to build some solution for that. And because extension can be used by any license. Solution as extension could be used by any license. So, and when converting to the app source extensions, so we need to make sure that web client issues are solved. So there are a couple of things like show S3 or column or row span properties, but these are minor things. However, they need to be handled properly in order to for the users using web client to have the proper user experience. And the most challenging part is .NET refactoring. So .NET is not supported in app source extensions. So the common recipe is move these .NET usage scenarios to Azure functions. And the last part is there is a new set of technical and marketing validation for the app source, which are quite new. So we will cover those in Ready to Go program. Soren?
Thank you, Andreas. So I think you have some very good insights here from the projects we ran so far, and I expect that there will be some questions to you afterwards. Now, how do you get started? Well, we have what we call the Ready to Go program. But before you start even on considering going down the road of building an extension product, the first thing we really recommend is that you think thoroughly about the business case. This is because building an extension is not a trivial thing economically. It scales greatly, and in the way that you can implement it and maintain it for multiple customers in multiple countries. So on that side, it supports, I would say, bigger revenue streams. But on the other hand, building the extension itself is a substantial investment, usually, of course, depending on how big the app is. So consider, what is the market you're addressing? What is the segment? How are you going to price it? Are you going to do it as a subscription or perpetual license? How are you going to protect the IP? How are you going to monetize it technically as well? And how do you actually size the investment so that you have the investment not only from a perspective of what it takes to build the app, but also the whole marketing infrastructure you need to sell and run a business online based on your app or multiple apps. So the business case is an important first step. So start there. The next thing is to use all the resources that are available from Microsoft and the ISV development centers. So together with Microsoft, we have been building a framework and a number of services that we can actually offer to partners that want to go into the extension world and build apps for release to customers. It's basically split up in two key areas. Are you ready to go, basically, and then doing the execution and getting your app on AppSource. We have built our offering, so the framework is basically Microsoft's. We have a number of services that we, together with our strategic partner QBS, can offer to partners in each of the areas around learning the new technologies, designing and building the app, validating that you all have all the stuff that you actually need to go to the point where you finally build and execute and publish your app and get it to the first customer. And I'm not going to go through every single piece here. I think it's enough for us to say that we have a webinar on the 11th of April at 5 p.m., 4 p.m. CET or 5 p.m. Eastern European time. And there we will present together with QBS the different individual services that we can provide to help you move forward. There's a couple of those I'll mention today, though. The first one is the Ready to Go validation workshop. This is a workshop that's based on Microsoft's experience over the last year of working with ISVs and getting them ready for AppSource. And it's basically a run-through of a long checklist of things that needs to be in place, both commercially, product management-wise, marketing-wise, and so on, for you to bring an app out as a product. We can provide that either as a 4x2 hour session online or as a 1-day on-site session. And usually the people that need to be part of that are usually the top management, product management, marketing management, and so on, sales management of the partner. The price is 2,500 euro for this validation, but it will give you a good feel for how far you are compared to where you need to be actually in order to go live with an app business. Then we talked about the business case in the beginning. Here there is an investment side to that business case, and the investment side can be difficult. Given our experience already in building extensions, we can actually help you scope how long it will take either to convert your current add-on to an app, or what it will take based on the functional requirements document, how long it will take you to build a completely new app from the beginning. It is a 2 to 3 day workshop, and basically what we'll come up with out of that is a high level estimate, number of sprints, and so on, that needs to be performed in order to build the app. That will give you part of the investment side, not the full investment side, but the app part of the investment side. On top of that, there are marketing investments, sales investments, product investments, process investments, and so on. So basically, with that, we can say that if you want to hear more, or if you want to start a conversation with us on how to move forward, and there are many ways depending on how much work you've done already, you can go and request a consultation at oneclickfactory.com, ready to go program, or participate on the 11th of April in our workshop with QBS. I would suggest that you write to service@oneclickfactory.com with your question, and we will log them in our support system and try to get back to you within a week and a half, so that you can get your answers. That's it for today. Thanks a lot for your interest in Extension 2.0 and all the interesting new things that is happening in this area. We will probably be doing more with you as this topic continues to evolve. So I don't think this will be the last webinar on this topic, so that you can look forward to. Thank you for today. Thank you, and good morning again to those in the North American side of things, and yeah, good evening to everybody in Europe. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.